Hello guys, my name is Chisom Iwobo, a software engineer at Bekagon, Nigeria. Today we're going to be looking at access modifiers in Java. Now you must have seen the public, the private, and the protected keywords while practicing Java programs. These are called access modifiers. They restrict the access of a class, a constructor, a data member, and methods in another class. We are going to be using some code examples to actually get this better. In Java, there are four access modifiers. We have the default access modifier, the protected, the private, and the public access modifier. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is to create a class called account. So we're going to be creating a basic account balance, a very basic account balance to actually understand the concept of access modifiers better. Alright, I'm going to create a field called, actually let me use a public field called account name. Going to create a public and called balance and set this to 0. Going to create a public array list, okay, of integers called transactions. So this transaction array list we're going to use to store our transactions. So basically what we're going to do, we are going to store positive integers as deposits and then negative integers as our withdrawal. Alright, I'm going to create a constructor and it's going to accept a name. The account name is going to accept an account name, and then I'm going to initialize our transactions here, right here. I'm going to initialize the transaction right here. Okay, I'm going to create another method to get our account balance, a public and it's called get balance, which is going to return it's going to return the balance. Sorry, typo here, which is going to return the balance. Okay, I'm also going to create another method called deposits. To deposit money. It's going to take a parameter called amount, int amount. So it's going to check if the amount is greater than 0, then we can add to a transaction. We can add this amount to our transaction and then add to our balance. Our balance was equal to the amount. Okay, and then we're going to output this. We have just deposited this amount, right, to your account. Okay, otherwise we want to outprint. Okay, so we're going to create another method, called withdraw. It's going to take an amount and int withdraw should be equal to negative amount. Now we're going to check if the amount is greater than the balance. If the amount is greater than the balance, then obviously have an insufficient balance, and we're just going to return from here. Just return from here. And if the withdraw is less than 0, then we can add this to the transaction. You can add it as a withdrawal. It means you're withdrawing an amount, and then this dot balance should be plus equal to the withdraw. Cool. And then we should just output amount, amount withdrawn from your account. Withdrawn from your account. Else you get let me see, you cannot withdraw negative amount. Okay, I think that's cool. Okay, let's go to our main method. And in here we're going to do account, Chisholm account is equal to a new account with my name. Okay, Chisholm account, we're going to deposit 1,000 account. Chisholm account, we're going to try to withdraw more than we have. Chisholm account, we're going to try to withdraw a negative amount. Chisholm account, we're going to withdraw 500. Now let's check how much we have left. Your account balance is Chisholm account that gets balance. Now let's run this. So this is the basic account balance, very basic. Now you can see you've just deposited 1,000 to your account. Insufficient balance because we tried to withdraw more than we have in our account. Cannot withdraw negative amounts, you can see. And then 500 withdrawn from your account because we withdrew 500 right here. And then our current balance is 500. Okay, let's go to the account class. As you can see, these fields are public. Okay, now the implication of this is that these fields can actually be modified directly from outside of this class. Now let's look at that. I can actually do Chisholm account of balance is equal to 5,000. If I run this again, you can see the balance is now 5,000. Now, in a well-designed system, these fields should only be accessible through methods, that is the deposit and the withdrawal method. Okay. The point is, if you expose fields in a class, then anybody using this class is going to automatically assume that these fields can actually be modified directly. And the fact that they can actually modify these fields, thereby bypassing the methods you created to modify them, will make this class not to actually behave the way it is intended to behave. Now, the best solution for this is to make this a private class, private field. Sorry, make them private. Make all of them private. Okay, if we go back to our main, you can see that this balance is no longer accessible from outside of this class. Alright, so the best way to handle the balance is actually to create a setter method in this account class. So in this account class, we can create a method here called set balance. Okay, it takes in the balance and then use the balance equal balance. So right here you can actually perform whatever business logic you want to perform on this balance, on this private balance. You can use this method to actually perform that logic. So back in our main class, we can say Chisholm account set account balance to 40,000. This is actually the most preferred way to do this. Now if I run this class again, you can see balance is now 40,000. Okay, let's talk about the access modifiers. Let's talk about them a little bit more. So like I said, there are 4 access modifiers in Java. We have the public access modifier, the private, the protected, and the package private, otherwise known as the default access modifier. Now, access control can be granted both at the top level and then at the member level. Now, at the top level, classes, interface, and enums can be made public or package private, otherwise default. You can't actually make a class at the top level private. You get a compile error if you do that. Now let's try that out. I'm going to create a class called animal. Okay, this is a public class. If I change this to private, you can see modifier private not allowed. Get a compile error. But I can make this a package private by doing this. This is a default access modifier right now because I did not actually specify any access modifier. So you cannot make the top level class private. You can't do that. Alright, here's another example, a public class random string. Now this class has a method called generate random string, and this method is actually package private because we did not actually specify any access modifier, so it automatically takes the default access modifier. Okay, if I go to example 1, you can see this is a public class example 1. Now remember, this random string class is in the ABC package. It's in the ABC package, and this example 1 is in XYZ package. Now if I try to initialize the random string right here, random string equal to new random string, okay, and if I try to access that method, if I try to access the default method generate random string, you can see generate random string. You can see we can't actually access that method. We are getting a compile error. You can see we can't actually access that method. Now the reason it is because this is default, it's package private. It means it's only accessible by classes that are in the same package as ABC. Okay, now let's make this protected. Let's make this protected. Now if we go back to this place, remember the protected access modifier, it behaves just like the package private access modifier, but the difference is that it can be accessed by subclasses that are in separate packages. So if this example 1, for instance, extends random string, okay, and then we initialize example 1 right here, example 1, okay, is equals to new example 1, right? Example 1, sorry, dot, you can see generate random string. You can see it's accessible. Now the reason it is because this example 1 is a subclass of this. Example 1 is actually extending this. That is why we are able to access this generate random string, because the method is now protected, meaning that it's accessible by the subclasses. Now if I make this to private, you can see I get an error. Only classes, interfaces, and enums can exist at the top level. Every other thing must exist within them. Now, the public access modifiers, okay? The access is visible to all classes, whether they are in the same package or in a different package. Package private is only visible to classes within its package. Package private can be specified by not specifying any access modifier at all. Now, there's actually no private package keyword. So in essence, when you don't specify any access modifier, it's going to be package private. Okay, so this is an example of a top level public access modifier. As you can see, public class animal class is an example of a top level public interface, a public interface, animal interface is an example of a top level package private class. You can see there is no access modifier specified here. We have just class animal package private. So this is package private class. Now this is a package private interface. As you can see, an interface animal package private interface. The private is only visible in classes in which it is declared in. It is not visible outside of that class. How the protected is visible anywhere within a package, just like the package private, but it is also visible by subclasses that are in another package. So that is more like the difference between the protected and the private and the package private. Alright guys, there's something I want to talk about. If I asked you what the access of these fields and methods are, you might be tempted to say they are package private, otherwise known as the default. But the trick is this: all interface variables are public static final, and then the methods are actually public. They have the public access modifier. Alright, I think you guys can just play around with some of these things so you can actually understand how this thing works. Thank you.